ராமானுஜதயாபாத்திரம் ஞானவைராக்யபூஷணம் ஸ்ரீமத்வேங்கடநாதார்யம் வந்தே வேதாந்ததேசிகம் லக்ஷ்மீநாதசமாரம்பாம் நாதயாமுனமத்தியமாம் அஸ்மதாச்சார்யபர்யந்தாம் வந்தே குருபரம்பராம் யோ நித்யம் அச்சுதபதாம்புஜயுக்மருக்ம வியாமோஹதஸ்ததிதராணி த்ரிணாயமேனே अस्मद्गुरोर् भगवतोस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसार कुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्तांग्रिरेणु परकाल यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत् परांकुशमुनिं प्रणतोस्मि नित्यम् वेदेषु पौरुषं सूक्तं धर्मशास्त्रेषु मानवं भारते भगवद्गीता पुराणेषु च वैष्णवम्. A very good evening to the Astikas who have gathered here. Despite Varuna Bhagavan being extremely bountiful and benevolent on us, and despite the country of the Far East and the immediate West playing on the ground, if you have all made, so we are very lucky to be hosting all of you for the lecture series which is beginning today. So this month, November, we are beginning with lecture 1. So this is Purusha Suktam. Purusha Suktam may continue for 2 to 3 lectures more. The next lecture will be in January. We'll let you know the dates very soon. Then subsequently, we are hopeful and we pray that we can cover lectures on the Shri Suktam, Bhu Suktam, Neela Suktam, Narayana Suktam, Vishnu Suktam, Shri Rudram and Chamakam. But to cover all of this, especially Shri Rudram, it is very vast. It has got 11 Anuvakams. Let us see how much we can cover, or we can extend that 10 into 15, we don't know. But considering, technically when an organizer asks me for topics, it will invariably be centered around the Ramayana, Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Mahabharatam, Sriman Narayaniyam, Divya Prabandham, the Charitram of various Alvars, so on and so forth. But we thought we could venture into the Vedic topics as well. And especially Purusha Suktam has one particular mantra which is a point of contention, especially amongst the lesser educated politicians. That mantra will also be handled in the subsequent lectures. Before we begin Purusha Suktam, it is very important that we understand the basis of the Vedas, because whatever topics we are going to discuss in the 10 to 12 lectures are all from the Vedas. It is not even Vedanta. It is Vedas. So considering it is from Vedam, Vedokhilo Dharma Moolam, Anantavai Vedaha. These are all eternal sayings that our acharyas will always begin their Shri Mukham with. Vedokhilo Dharma Moolam, Anantavai Vedaha. These are all the sayings. And from next lecture onwards, I'm sure you will carry a book and a pen. If you're not, feel free to record the lecture, because it is very important that you carry the audio and you can always listen. So either audio record or take notes, do something. Because generally in Sanatana Dharma, we think that protection of the Dharma is not a collective responsibility. Somehow we have come to the conclusion there will be 3-4 people who will fight for Dharma. Somehow Sanatana Dharma is eternal, sir. It will defend itself. It can't. It needs Astikas to defend. And the best element to defend Dharma is when we know Dharma. When we know the nuances of the meanings, we can defend the Dharma. Remember, Acharyas always say Dharma will always come to your rescue when you take steps to protect dharma. Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. So rakshanam is our karyam. Kshatram is a gunam. See, kshatram is a word that we always indicate for the valor of the kshatriyas. That kshatram should be within us. And for that, we need to keep listening. For that, we need to start taking notes. For that taking notes, I had to give this lecture. So, in Vedam, I will, and by the end of 12 lectures, you would have completed at least 2 levels of Sanskritam. Sure, because I have to read many passages from the Vedic texts. Do not, attending first lecture, do not think it is difficult. You will get used to the difficulty. It will not become easy. See, if somebody says, I'll make it easy, then they are actually bluffing. Certain texts are tough. And it is my responsibility to make it engaging and easy. At the same time, you should also take efforts to listen to this lecture at least twice before you come for the next lecture. Sir, for lectures should we work so much? Yes, in Sanatana Dharma you have to work. Now, coming to this Dhyana Shlokam that I said, it is a very interesting Dhyana Shlokam which has been quoted by the Trimatacharyas, be it Madhvacharya, Bhagavad Ramanuja or Adi Shankara. They have quoted this particular shloka. Vedeshu Paurusham Suktam. In amongst the Vedic passages, it is the Purusha Sukta. Vedeshu Paurusham Suktam. Dharma Shastreshu Manavam. Amongst the Dharma Shastras that are there, it is Manu Dharma Shastra. You will not react to it. Had I told this in Chennai, there will be a huge debate for 4 days. But this shloka says, Dharma Shastreshu Manavam. Bharate Bhagavad Gita. In the Bharatam passages, which is in Sri Mahabharatam, it is Bhagavad Gita. Puraneshu cha Vaishnavam. Vishnu Puranam amongst the Puranas. This is regarded, these 4 texts, Bhagavad Gita in Mahabharatam, Vishnu Puranam in the Puranas, Purusha Suktam in the Vedas, and Manu Dharma Shastram amongst the Dharma Shastras. It seems that these bring the quintessence of Dharma. Sir, in Dharma Shastram, let Manu Dharma Shastram be there. In Mahabharatam, let Bhagavad Gita be there. In the Vedas too, okay, Purusha Suktam, let it be there. But in Puranas, why didn't Bhagavatam feature? Why is Vishnu Puranam coming? Correct? All this question I'll answer in the due course. So, Purusha Suktam is very important. Why is it important? For that, we need to understand the basis of Vedas. There is one Prachina Shlokam, the commentator says, I'll talk about the list of commentators. It is very important for us to understand the Vedic passages. Here he says, Andhakare Deepikabhir Gachannas Khalati Kvachit Evam Swaraihi Pranitanam Bhavantyartaha Sphuta Iti. For which the commentator says, Atra Swarasahitenaiva Veda Shabdocharanaha Kartavyaha Ityabhidiyate. When we interpret the Vedas, remember, if we go by Max Muller, Griffith, William Jones, there is a problem. Because they did not study Sanskritam or the Vedas in the traditional way. What technically an English translator would do in those days is he will call 3-4 Brahmanas and he'll ask them to explain. And he'll pick parts from each of their commentaries and mix them together. It is called yericheri in cooking. And he will confuse us. Generally, in any language, remember this. If you remember this, interpretation becomes very easy. In any language, it could be the English language that I am speaking. It could be Kannada. It could be Tamil. It could be Malayalam. It could be Hindi. It could be Marathi. It could be Telugu. Whichever language. That language will have a dictionary, a Shabda Kosham. And one word may have one meaning. One word may have many meanings, anekarthaha. But how will you know which artham applies there? Based on the context in which it is used. It is there in any language. For example, in English, when I'm speaking, bring the kiwi fruit. Somebody listens to this word kiwi alone and he knows only Kannada. What is kiwi? Then he will not bring kiwi. He will bring the ear. Like how Shakespeare said, friends, Romans, and countrymen, lend me your ears. He will lend his ear, not the kiwi fruit. So one word may have different meanings in different languages. One word will have many meanings in the same language. I'm using the word kiwi for English and Kannada. Now let's take the word kal in Hindi. Kal means both yesterday and tomorrow. So you understand what is the meaning of the word kal based on the verb that follows it. Kal मैं आया था, तब वो बन जाएगा yesterday. Kal मैं आऊंगा, then it will become tomorrow. Same spelling, same pronunciation, same language, two meanings. So we always interpret any language or any passage in any language based on the context. This is the generic rule, even in English. Whereas in Vedam, it is different. In Vedas, you interpret the meaning of the words based on the swaram. For example, the sound is Ajaha, then it means Brahma. Ajaha, then it means goat. So that is why in Vedic recitation, the swaram is very important. By mistake, if the person says, instead of Ajaha, Ajaha, he says, then the goat will come. You're able to get the difference between Sanskritam. See, people often think that Vedas are in Sanskritam. No. Sanskritam as a language is inspired of the Vedic language. Vedic language is different. This was the firm opinion of the Paramacharya of Kanchi, Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swami, who is revered as Mahaperiyava, was of the very clear opinion that Vaidika Bhasha, Vedic language, is like Sanskritam. It is not Sanskritam. So Vedic language is the right word to use. But if I tell all of this, none of them will agree today, because we have all become Twitter jnanis. So we read Wiki Purana, Twitter jnanis. So now it becomes very tough. Since you're all Astikas and Bhagavatottamas, I'm able to openly tell you what is the meaning given by the Acharyas. Now, I told you the importance of sound. There is one story associated with it. Thank God, sir. We need such stories. I will try inducing as many stories, but some passages will be tough as well. Mantro hinaha swarato varnato va mithya prayukto na tamarthamaha savagvajro yajamanam hinasti yathendra shatruhu swarato paradhat. It's a very prachina shlokam quoted by Panini, one of the greatest grammarians. What is the meaning of this shlokam? He tells, in the Vedic times, there was this Tvashta, a person called Tvashta. This Tvashta he had some tussle with Indra. He wanted to kill Indra. But he did not have the strength, the valor to fight Indra. He had a son. The son was quite powerful. But to fight Indra, this boy needed more power. So Tvashta performed a yagam. And in that yagam, he used a mantrocharanam. He said, Indra Shatro Vardhasva. Remember this line, Indra Shatro Vardhasva. What does Indra Shatru mean? Enemy of Indra. That also you don't know, sir, and you have started giving lectures. Indrasya Shatru, Indra Shatru. Indra's Shatru, or to the one, Indra Shatro Vardhasva. The other, see, there is one Samasa Padam in Sanskritam. You can interpret most words if they have come together as a combination of two words in two or more ways. Tatpurusha samasam, bahuvrihi samasam. Have you heard of Andal's father? Who's Andal's father? Periyalvar. In the Tamil tradition, he is called Periyalvar. There is a technical name which he has. He is called Vishnu Chitta. Now this Vishnu Chitta comes from two words, Vishnu and Chitta. So there are two ways of interpreting it. The one who has Vishnu in his Chitta, in his mind. The one who has Vishnu in his Chitta is called Vishnu Chitta. This is one interpretation. The one who is in the Chitta of Vishnu is called Vishnu Chitta. You're able to get the difference? So if you take the first interpretation, it means Periyalvar keeps thinking about Vishnu. So Vishnu is in Chitta. The second interpretation means Vishnu is thinking of Periyalvar. So Periyalvar is called Vishnu Chitta. This is called Tatpurusha Samasam and Bahuvrihi Samasam. Now Indra Shatru, what did Tvashta mean? Now Indra is an enemy to us. So the one who treats Indra as his enemy, that is my son, let his power increase. That is what is meant by Indra Shatro Vardhasva. There, while reading that Vedic passage, he had to say Indra in the Udatta Padam. In Shatru, he had to increase the through upwards. Instead of increasing it upwards, he made it downwards. Indra Shatru. He said Shatru. The moment he said Indra Shatru downwards, the Yagam gave Palan, but it gave based on the Swaram in which he said. Had he said it the right way, it would have meant that my son treats Indra as his enemy. Let him go fight Indra. For fighting Indra, let the strength of my son increase multifold times. Thereby let Indra die. This is what would have come as the rightful meaning. But when he went downwards in the Swaram, Indra got the power and he killed Tvashta's son. You're able to get the meaning? So that is why the shlokam says, now I will read the shlokam again. Mantro hinaha swarato varnato va. For instance, you recite the Vedic passages with the wrong swaras or without swaras. Mantro hinaha swarato varnato va. Mithya prayukto na tamarthamaha. Then the meaning of that passage will change. If it changes, Savagvajro yajamanam hinasti yathendra shatruhu swarato paradhat. Then whatever happened to Tvashta and whatever happened with that Indra Shatru passage will happen to us. That is why in Sri Mahabharatam, there was one child born as a result of his father's wrongful pronunciations. Can you tell who that person was? Somebody said, very good. Ashtavakra. Ashtavakra, that little boy, as a fetus inside his mother's womb, was listening to his father's Vedic passages. And the father was doing wrong Ucharanam. So the boy, as a fetus, hinted and told his father, you are reciting it wrongly. Then the father cursed him. I am doing it the right way. And since the boy was a recipient of wrong Vedic swaras, he had deformities in 8 places in his body. So he is called Ashtavakra. Sir, what should we do now? That is why we don't recite at all, sir. Only if we recite, we will get all these problems. So my basic point was to tell you that interpretation of Vedic texts is also an art. It is not easy. If you go to Google, Purusha Suktam, then that SEO will give you with meaning, with Kannada lyrics, with word by word meaning. And they will take one excerpt of it and then they will come for a debate. That is not the way traditional lectures work. So Swaram is very important.